Oh my goodness, who let the dogs out? Welcome back to Maniac Math with Mrs. Carell. Today you're going to need your video note sheet, a pencil, and a ruler. Okay, dogs are out. At the top of your page where it says title of video, you need to write points, lines, rays, and angles number 1. Below that where it says important term or definition, you need to write a line goes on forever, but a line segment has a beginning and an end. When you get that written down, come on back and we'll get going. Okay, we're talking about lines, rays, points, and angles today. So use your ruler, and I want you to draw a line in box number 1. I'm going to draw a line in my box number 1, just like this. Now you could draw your line horizontal, like I did, or you could draw your line vertically, like this one, or you could draw one diagonally, or just about any way you'd like. These are what we call line segments. They're just pieces of a line. So you might have a number line, something like the one I'm drawing right now. Maybe your number line looks like this. Ooh. 0 to 100 and then to 200. Well, your line segment could be just a piece of this. Maybe we were only showing on our line segment, maybe we only wanted to look at this little piece right here, which would be about 0 to 50. So this is a line segment. The reason it's a line segment is because it has a beginning and an end. Beginning and an end. At the end of each line segment, there is what we call a point. A point shows the beginning and the end of a line segment. On your paper, I want you to draw a couple more lines, and then we're going to use some arrows, and we're going to write some terms. So, point, draw a couple of lines, and then write the word point to show the points at the end and beginning of your line. And then we're going to write line segment, just like this. And we're going to draw an arrow to that. And you can label all of these points and lines if you want to, but you make sure that you get at least one line segment and 2 points labeled on your paper. Line segments and points. When you get that done, we'll go on. All right, so for number 2, we're going to look at rays. A ray is just basically a piece of a line, but it looks a little bit different. A ray has a beginning, but not really an end. There is a point at the beginning, and at the other end we use an arrow to show which way the ray is going. I'd like you to go ahead and draw a couple of rays with a point on them. I'm going to draw one here. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I didn't quite grab my line tool. There we go. Okay, now I can put an arrow on the end to show that that is a ray. So we have a point. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to write that in blue, just like the point actually is. Or was until I accidentally erased it. Okay, point. This is a point, and that is a point. The pink things are what we call rays. This is a ray, and this is a ray. Now this is different than the word array, which is something you should have learned in 3rd grade that has to do with multiplication. So you know when you put 4 x's and then you make 4 more x's and 4 more x's, and this would show you the multiplication problem. 3 times 4 This is an array. We're not doing arrays. We're doing rays. Now, array could have other points on it. It doesn't have to have just the beginning point. It can have other points on it as well. But it doesn't have an end. All right, get that written down, and then we'll go on to number 3. Okay, for number 3, we're going to learn a little bit about angles. When you have two rays that have the same beginning point, we call it an angle. Here's what we're talking about. I'm going to draw a ray, and then I'm going to draw another ray, and they have the same beginning point. So let me mark my point right here. They both start right here. And we know they're rays because I'm drawing an arrow at the end to show that they go on and on forever. But what we're learning about on this one is called angles. Now make sure you spell angle A-N-G-L-E. Otherwise, it's an angel if you switch the E and the L. And we want an angle, not an angel. The angle is the distance between here and here. And that is something that we measure in degrees. So an angle might be 35 degrees. And so that little tiny circle right up there, just like we do temperature, we measure angles in degrees as well. Go ahead and box number 3, make sure you have this drawn and something down here with 2 numbers and that little thing, and we're going to write angles are measured in degrees. Angles are measured in degrees, like temperature. Temperature. There we go. So when we're using lines and rays and segments and things, we need to name them so that we know exactly which one we're talking about. You can see here I have a lot of letters and line parts and rays and things on here, but we need to know which one we're talking about. So how we do this is, if you have a line segment and its beginning point is F and its end point is G, you would write in capital letters F, G, and you would put a little line straight across the top of those to show that we're talking about line segment FG. What if we were talking about this particular ray right here? What would that be called? That would be called ray QR. To show that we're talking about ray QR, we would write in capital letters QR, and then we would draw a line with an arrow on it to show that we're talking about the ray QR. But what if we had a line that just never ended? How do we show that? This is how we do it. We draw a line, and then we put arrows on either end, both ends, to show that that line would go on forever and ever and ever, and it would never stop, go into outer space. How do we name lines like that? Well, let's see. Let's pick a couple letters like D. Actually, I'm going to put that more at the end. D and E. Actually, I shouldn't put a point there, should I? Probably not. We'll call this line D. Whoa, that's the weirdest looking D I've ever seen. D, E. How do we show that it's a line that never ever stops? Well, we write in capital letters D, E, and what do you think we put on the top? What's going to show us that it's a line that never ends? The arrows that go both ways. So here we have line DE, line DE, and we write it like this. Here we have ray QR, but we write it like this. And here we have line segment FG, line segment. We're just going to abbreviate that, and we write it like that. Make sure you have all this done. Okay, for problem number 5, I want you to draw a line segment and name it ST. And then in the same square, I want you to also draw a line. Draw a line. Remember, a line goes on forever. Draw a line and name it XY. For this problem, and you don't have to write these words down here, but I needed to write them so that you could see it. Draw a ray and name it CD. Then I want you to draw 2 rays with the same starting point. Name the rays LM and MN. And that's it for this one. Not too bad, huh? You got this.